And we're back with round 3. Okay, we look like a very different deck than we actually are. We've got a removal spell and a creature, though, so I think that's okay. Certainly not the first 2 spells I expected to be casting, since they're a splash. Okay, how likely are we to need Dreadbore right off the bat? I think it's unlikely enough that I'd rather just get the Guild Gate in now so it won't be a problem. Now we're looking like we're all sorts of colors. This creature is very good. Alright, our start is looking pretty strong here. Gonna hold on to the Dreadbore. Really don't think a 2-drop is worth using our only removal on, unless something comes up. Basilicus creature is a very, very good card, but it takes more than just that. So Call of the Nightwing. Next turn we can Void Wield, maybe? Maybe Void Wield. Maybe Void Wield away this creature so we can attack past and get another Nightwing. We'll see. Or we could play the Spawn, get aggressive, and use the Void Wielder to get in. We shall see. Horror kind of holds this creature off unless he's got another flying card, because obviously he doesn't want us to get more creatures. Or, more horrors. It's a kind of funny looking guy. I guess horrors tend to be funny looking. Might be related. Opponent's got something big to think out. So we should figure out. Okay, I kind of like playing the Spawner Rixmani now, so that we can use the Void Wielder to get more damage in. I do like getting an extra horror, but not as much as I like attacking with a 6/4 and getting a horror. Okay, so our horror may not be getting in the foreseeable future. But lost our Shadow Slice, that's unfortunate. We could also try to wait until we can Void Wield and Dreadbore in the same turn. But that may be asking a bit much. It would just be putting it off one turn. Or we could Steal Her Secrets and Dreadbore next turn and then just Void Wield. Regardless, it turns out the same turn. Actually, Steal Her Secrets Dreadbore is not bad, because Dreadbore lets our spawn be more likely to get through. We'll see. That's pretty good here, actually. Our opponent gets in some damage. Quite a bit, actually. Jailbreaker is interesting. Go ahead and play that. Get in with the spawn. We've got a good blocker that can also attack. We can't block anything in there, but next turn we will be able to do the Voidwalker Dreadbore play if we choose to. I'd never actually looked that closely at the art. It's kind of cool in a very, like, tinkerer engineering kind of way. The decks that we have problems with, we seem to have problems with the flyers. We faced a kind of surprising number of them. I'd say your opponent's playing very slowly, but there's only, you know, a minute or two difference. I guess I'm talking, so I'm playing a bit more slowly than I might otherwise, but nah. That's a problem. That's a pain. Do I want to trade the Jailbreaker for the Cyclops? If not, I take an awful lot of damage, so yeah, probably. Alright, Fire and Away is a very, very good Magic card. I'm going to go ahead and get in some damage. We're behind, but we need to get something in. Else we'll be too far behind. We did a similar effect to our opponent with the Far and Away, but ours took 2 cards. If our opponent has an instant or sorcery, we pretty much have to throw away the Void Wielder. Death's approach is -1/-1, which is something. Yeah, that's a problem. Especially since the bat's coming in. Next turn. It's going to be hard for us to not just die to Extort here. Okay, so that was a pretty emphatic win here for our opponent. So we lost that one. Obviously, we couldn't block. Okay, so the infinite instants and sorceries deck. Mizium Skin sounds decent. And for probably last thoughts, maybe Hired Torturer. Yeah, let's lower our curve a little bit. Hired Torturer is not great because most of the creatures we saw were flying. But c'est la vie. C'est la vie, c'est la guerre, c'est la pomme de terre. Let's play first, see how this goes. Not an amazing hand, but it's just reasonable enough to keep. Our opponent mulliganed to 6 and kept. Is it worth playing Hidden Strings? Not really, it doesn't do a ton right now. I guess it would let it untap itself, but at the moment that doesn't even matter, so. Hoping we draw a Swamp next turn. Our opponent seems to have gotten a lot of Inaction Injunctions. That's interesting. Okay, any land is decent next turn because we've got some options here. I'm using F4 so that we can respond with Mizium Skin if our opponent tries to do anything sneaky here. Which, of course, doesn't happen. Okay, could use Hidden Strings to get in. That would be better on the Balustrade Spy. Hidden Strings is not amazing here. Let's try and see if we can get in anyway. Still not great. Tell you what, probably not gonna need Hidden Strings too soon, so. Oh, sorry, probably not gonna have time for Hidden Strings once we do draw mana. That's what I meant to say. So we'll untap the Oculus and a blue mana. That kind of lets us ramp. Maybe we should have done this earlier because it would have let us ramp into, like, Void Wielder, but it's not really ideal. Definitely worth mentioning, though. I could have untapped 2 islands instead of the Oculus. That would have let me have Aetherize. Maybe that's worth it. Right, like I said, save Mizium Skin just for this. Still not great, and we take the 4 damage from the Cyclops. Unfortunately, this combat damage Oh, so we can't actually use it to ramp. Right. We can. Because we could get mana out of it by tapping and untapping. However, we cannot use that to cast sorcery speed spells. So that does not help us. Alright, our opponent gets a clue. I'm probably just going to have to Aetherize as a speed bump. Thankfully, our opponent's tapped out, so the Cyclops can't come down yet. Still missing on swamps or any lanes. Our opponent has an Azorius Kieran that can become a creature. That's... Alright, here we go. This blocks the Kieran. It does not block the Cyclops, but hopefully our opponent will not have an instant or sorcery. I'd rather have this on board so I can Shadow Slice or Void Wield next turn. Or whatever, really. Our opponent is playing a bit slowly still. Again, the time difference isn't that big, but it feels very slow. Oh, that's harsh. I guess it's not that much damage, but definitely 4 damage that we would not have taken otherwise. Okay. Want us to keep the spy back to block, ideally. Could Void Wield, could Torture and Dreadbore. Dreadboring a Cyclops, probably. I'm going to save the Torture. Our opponent could certainly have more scary things. To use removal spells on, that is. Okay, what do we spy? Right, Cyclops. Not the biggest surprise in the world. I always wish I had some kind of lifelink creature just so that when your life gets low, like, you have some safety net. Okay. So we could Dreadbore, Shadow Slice. Don't really want to be. Still can't really attack with the Spy. Could pass and hold up Spectacle. Could Torturer and Dreadbore. letting us hold up Spectacle or Torturer next turn. Yeah, I want to get the Torturer out just so we can have the option. Since we have another removal spell, I will go ahead and Dreadbore the Cyclops right now. It's unlikely that we'll need to use that on a Planeswalker. Though, frankly, I would be dead if that were the case anyway. I could attack and bluff with a Void Wielder, but pretty sure that wouldn't help us. And there are combat tricks such that the Gatekeepers would kill it anyway. Equally unlikely, but it's not worth, like, bluffing something that's so off, so unlikely when there's actually reasons that the bluff would be bad. And Cyclops in hand. Warp Physique is enough to kill the bat, so I will do so. That means that, again, I don't keep up Spectacle. But okay, do I Shadow Slice and get in? No, I don't think I do. I think I just hold up to Hired Torturer. Dead Reveler's pretty big, but at least Void Wielder blocks him okay. And Cyclops. Okay. Cyclops is waiting with the rest of the X-Men. Okay, so Death's Approach. How many? We have no dead guys in our graveyard. That's good. I would like to keep a removal spell up. And I've got some damage every turn. So I'll just stay like this, that's fine. Our opponent has 4 cards in hand. We know we know what 2 of them are. Don't really want to give him time to get answers to everything, but okay, so this is actually better after it's equipped. Plus we can wait for the combat tower. We can wait for Declare Attackers. Kill your guy. Sadly, we could not keep the Torturer up, but at least we got a good 2-for-1, and we milled a whole bunch of cards. Psychic Strike, Mountain Way of the Thief, Cyclops, Kingpin's Pet. Alright. Okay, I think 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I Shadow Slice onto the Spy and play the Windrake with an intent to swap for the Key Rune if I can. That lets me get in more damage sooner. Of course, trading helps out Death's Approach, but that's gonna happen at some point. Attacking with this, he'd just block. Oof. That is harsh. At least we get to play the Balustrade Spy again. Maybe we can mull our opponent. You never know. Lose the Void Wielder. Yeah, Torturer isn't as good against Cyclops, but it gives some level of inevitability. So I'm going to keep that one. Okay, so our opponent's Death's Approach does 1 right now. Could have... Probably got a combat trick. Or is just going to use Death's Approach right now. Death's Approach on the Torture would not be the worst. Spy. Spy will likely... Oh no, Spy did not make Death's Approach better. That's lucky. Okay, so we have enough mana for the Torture. Definitely not going to mill herself. That would be stupid. Opponent's down to 10 cards in deck. Our opponent has Cyclops, Death's Approach, and 1 unknown in hand. Sprite. Our opponent could attack with Kieran to use Death's Approach either to 2-for-1 himself to kill the Spy or to take the Drake and make the Death's Approach better. Didn't think so. Oh, that's a Desecration Demon. Okay, so we missed one of the cards being played again. That's terrifying. Still have no attacks, though. But yeah, it's looking very likely that we'll just lose to the Desecration Demon, which our opponent just hit the mana for. Okay. Paralyzing Grasp gives us some kind of out against the demon. That's good. We could sacrifice something to tap it. Might be worth trading in the Windrake for that now. I guess there's no reason to not do that next turn unless we really need the mana. If we really need the mana, we'll want to have that out. But I will save the Paralyzing Grasp. And just tap on my opponent's turn. And instead of sacrificing a creature, I can just make him attack and I can chump block. That's... might have just been better to sacrifice a creature. But this gives me more options for blockers. see what else you have. Still Death's Reproach. Probably not playing that yet because it doesn't kill anything outright. And as far as he knows, we'll just sacrifice whatever he Death Approaches. Or gonna use both. Interesting that he's more afraid of the torture, although it was getting in some damage. Okay, this is not bad. Okay, there's no reason to attack. I'm going to put it onto itself just so our opponent is slightly less likely to be able to, you know, blow us out by killing all of our eggs that we put into one basket unwittingly. So, just spreading out the threats. Alright. 5 minutes? 6. Ooh, Blessed Genius. Do you have something that costs 3? Most likely. Nope, discarded a swamp. Okay, so just wanted to draw 2 cards, essentially. Or draw 3 and discard a card. That's still pretty good. Played a swamp. I would rather not sacrifice a creature, thanks. Our opponent is down to 3 cards in deck. Blast of Genius may not have been the safest bet. I would be tempted to start attacking with all 3 flyers for him, but I'm glad he's not. Gonna F4 and try and preserve our clock as much as we can. Hopefully we'll get to game 3. Given there's 2 cards in deck, chump blocking is not all that bad. Oh. Well. Three, 6, 8. Yep, that's lethal. Okay, so we lost this round. Unfortunately, this draft has not gone too well, but it was pretty much my first block draft, so hopefully we'll do better next time. Thanks for watching.